Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedoms.
Men will throw women under the bus perennially, forever, in the name of their leftist or democratic centrist politics. Women are always thrown under the bus because these guys don't care about women. They don't care about our safety, our agency, our humanity, our well-being, our lives. And I feel like we as women have to learn that lesson over and over and over again. There are so few men who are actually safe for women, always thrown under the bus.
You were gonna throw women under the bus. This is the third time.
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here, and nobody wants to be talking about Graham Platner at this time in the morning, but before we even get started, can I just make sure that the rest of you understand, you MAGA numbnuts, you pedo protectors, all of you out there who think that somehow talking about Graham Platner makes you have some sort of high ground on the right. I have here the list of pedophiles, people who are already in jail, who've already been indicted or already arrested, not just accused. Unfortunately, this list only goes to 600, and they're all Republican. The only reason why I don't have the Nazis, a list of them, is because down there, you can actually go to our website and just download all the J6ers and get their faces and their resting information, where they are, so you can keep yourself safe from the Nazi party. This is amongst normal humans, the conversation we're having here, not you sick fucking knuckle-dragging. Even if Graham Platner was a just absolute self-diagnosed Nazi, racist, sex offender, assaulter of many women, and the Democratic Party put him in, he would still be not as bad as your president, because at least he never fucked your old and her afterwards. You guys should really read those files that you forgot about 1 second after your chief swore the oath to the office with his hand off the Bible. That one you were railing about for 4 years. You guys should really read that, because that story's in there more than once. So kindly, if you're looking for the moral high ground, you lost it fucking 10 years ago. Absolutely no one cares what you think. And even me would put a racist in there and know that I'm still above your best candidate. My God, you guys are dumb. You should shut up and just let us fight this out. That's the smartest thing for you to do. I have more lists if you need them. Anyway, on to the regularly scheduled program. Yes, what's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. As I was saying, yeah, we're talking about it. You saw the clip in the beginning. If you're lucky enough to have seen what I posted yesterday, which was just supposed to be a introduction, just supposed to be something to wet your whistle about this video coming out, it turns out that what I meant to put out as a little short or maybe a 5-minute vid introducing you to what I wanted to talk about, this whole Platner story. I knew I was going to come home tonight and make it using all of the videos and the facts and the whole thing. I wanted to give you a good production. Turns out it turned into a 20-minute video in my car, and I'm late getting back to work at the end. So, in between, I am going to show you those videos, those clips, all of the addendums, all the things you need to know that will act as both receipts and explainers. But yeah, yesterday in my car, because I can't shut up, I gave this preview, and I said this in there.
And I'm not just going to say because he shouldn't have been there in the first place. Because black people who saw the Nazi sign and heard him when he said that black people don't tip, and then when we saw that he told Valhalla, the racist wannabe, the brand new, I'm a Charlie Kirk who's been to the gym a few times with a bunch of tattoos.
I was on TikTok last year. I was speaking up for Charlie Kirk.
When he told him, I love your show, I love watching your show, black people knew. Black people knew. You see, the problem is, they say they want to listen to us. They say we've got to platform black women. They were talking about it. They say we've got to inject the black experience into our decisions, and we all were talking about it.
We're going to start out talking Graham Platner a little bit because he's a great framing tool for everything I want to get off my chest. I want to be really clear. I'm going to say that a lot in this video. I don't like this dude. He feels like a seasonal villain from a prestige political drama like House of Cards or Scandal or something. I'm not saying he's a Nazi, but he's at least like Hydra or Order of the Cyclops for those of you that watched Watchmen all those years ago. He just is that guy, and it's incredibly obvious to anyone who isn't some of y'all. 4 tours and Blackwater and a Nazi tattoo is a lot.
We saw it from the very first commercial where homeboy looked straight up like a J6er.
I love most about Men of the People. I have never met people who are more hard-scrabble, even in a place that requires you to work like 2 or 3 different jobs. We have watched this state become essentially unlivable for working-class people, and it makes me deeply angry. My name is Graham Platner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate in Maine to defeat Susan Collins.
Everything about that guy was the ancestors were calling out when I saw him.
Boom. A third of what you've heard from everybody else is covered just in my intro. All right? But the truth is, the only story that I want to talk about, the only thing that matters to me is the fact that I have to yet again respond to Parkrose Permaculture. I don't know why so many people are like, I had to unsubscribe this long ago because she was on some bull this and bull that. Look, I'm going to go in. It won't be pretty, but I also want to make sure that you understand. I think she means well. I don't think that she's like some horrible human being that's using the left as a way to like grift the population. I don't think that. I say it like this. When you realize that ignorance is not a disease of the heart, ignorance is a disease of the mind. I can say, honestly, her heart is in the right place. She isn't doing it for a wrong reason. What she's ignorant of, that disease, can be fixed by learning. So at the end of this, she can learn something and literally fix the problem, fix the disease. So just start there. But what that disease is,
there's a daggone blind spot that's brought on by trauma. I understand. And this trauma is earned because men have been horrible for a long time to women. It's what it is. Especially politically. Especially in places of power. But it has so blinded her. It has so blinded her to this one thing. And that is, and this is paraphrasing what she said. I'm not just making this up. Every guy that said he was going to vote for Platner because the opposition was just too crazy, she immediately says, that's because all liberal men will throw women under the bus.
As of right now, he said about 4 hours ago, he and his campaign were taking a break to evaluate the situation. But the Democratic majority in the Senate is on the line. Democracy is on the line. The ability for Congress to constrain, to stop Donald Trump's rollout of fascism it's on the fucking line. It's on the line. The stakes could not be any higher. And I know I lost my shit earlier when I saw some guys on Facebook who were like, I don't care what Platner did, I'm going to vote for him because the other option is Susan Collins. And the other option is that Republicans likely maintain control of the Senate. And I was like, men will throw women under the bus perennially, forever, in the name of their leftist or like democratic centrist politics. Women are always thrown under the bus. And this is why we saw Democratic establishment politicians like Bill Clinton, like Chuck Schumer, endorsing serial sex pest Andrew Cuomo in the New York mayoral primary race. Because these guys don't care about women. They don't care about our safety, our agency, our humanity, our well-being, our lives.
Because now, on the third accusation, you've decided not to throw women under the bus. More importantly, when she says, we always have to choose the bear. Yeah, you do. I understand. But when you say that, make sure that you say it while acknowledging you're the bear for black people.
Damn! Now, when I said that yesterday, the comments that I got on that were mainly people saying, I've never heard it put so succinctly. It literally came out on the spot. But looking back, seeing the comments that I got, when I said, you are the bear for black people, the amount of black people who said thank you to that is a testament to the reality that we're living in. If you want me, and I do, believe the plight that women are going through, how hard it is to trust a man. That's how black folks feel about all of you. We're doing the best we can to trust you, but we are proving every day that it is nearly impossible to do so and be safe at the same time. It's unfortunate, I know. So when you hear from the guy, a man, white man, liberal man, say that, hey, I think that this is harm reduction and I'm going to vote for Platner because the other side is actually more hurtful to women. And your response is to completely negate the fact that you said more times than...
Wait, I'm not going to say that. Let's make this part really clear first.
It's not that Parkrose Permaculture said that she's endorsed this guy, because she didn't. As a matter of fact, she was very clear about not endorsing him.
Been conflating my videos, which are expressing concern about the billionaire money, APAC money, dark money that runs our election processes and runs so many of our elected officials. They're conflating that with me endorsing Platner. I never endorsed Graham Platner, and I've never given any money to his campaign.
So, in all fairness, that happened. Here's the caveat to that. She didn't endorse him, but...
Media in this country, not just corporate media, but also a lot of the new media and a lot of the influencers that you watch are captured. There has been massive movement capture in the press. We do not have a free press. And watching The Atlantic and Esquire and The Hill making post after post after post, basically saying Graham Platner should drop out of the race, hoping for MAGA Trumper Susan Collins to win re-election, seeing Democratic members of Congress calling on Graham Platner to drop out, like Madeleine Dean, who I used to respect a lot because she was on the January 6th Commission. I think she's doing some very good work in Congress. She takes a chunk of change from APAC, and she said that Platner should drop out of the race, knowing full well there's nobody else in that race who could compete with Susan Collins in the general election. She's basically saying she would take a pro-APAC Republican over Democrats having majority in the Senate after the midterms. And like, what a condemnation of establishment Democrats, that they would rather lose the majority in the Senate. They would rather see a Trump or a Republican. Remember, Susan Collins said after Donald Trump's 2020 impeachment, I think he learned his lesson and he didn't need to be convicted and removed from office. Remember, she supports Donald Trump's ethnic cleansing of immigrants in this country. She supports the suppression of the release of the Epstein files. She is part of the whole package of Republicans denying justice to Jeffrey Epstein survivors.
I mean, she didn't endorse him, but she did bring up all of the whataboutisms that are going on in the Republican Party.
And folks like Cory Booker and Chuck Schumer, and I guess Madeleine Dean would rather see Susan Collins get reelected than Graham Platner. Nobody is talking about all of Ken Paxton's scandals. I mean, I did a whole long video on Ken Paxton. Nobody is talking about Susan Collins' scandals. She had an affair with a married man while his wife was undergoing treatment for cancer, and then she married him after his wife passed away from cancer. But that's not a scandal anybody cares about, right? So for me, the issue has always been Not that Graham Platner is a great candidate, not that he doesn't have concerning issues that we should be talking about, but that the machine does not want him to get elected at all.
And I know she didn't endorse him officially, but she did say that she believed his plans and his policies were legit.
And that tells me that his positions are probably quite legit. His platform, his policies that he wants to push for and advocate for are probably quite legit. And when I talked about Platner before, I had a bunch of people in the comments who were like, oh, this is just like Abba Ghazaleh, right? Where you saw all of this massive influx of AIPAC money. And it was used for propaganda to prevent her from getting elected. But Mainers didn't buy it. They didn't buy it at all.
I mean, and lastly, guys, she didn't endorse him, but she did say that the people wanted someone who is flawed, just like them.
Treats them with disdain. And for me, Graham's win tonight is not like a yay for another white man getting elected, right? A white guy who has done some not great things and said some not great things. I do think it speaks to the fact that what people want is a politician. No, they don't want a politician at all. What they want is to elect someone to represent them, who they feel is genuine, is as flawed and as imperfect as they are, is on a journey to learn to do better. They want to see somebody who can evolve and grow and change over time.
The people wanted someone flawed just like them until he did the thing. And then the guy brings it up and, well, back to the bear. Do I need to be any clearer about what that really is? Here's the thing. While you were out there praising him, which you were, and when you saw that straight up out of 1950s military propaganda video that he calls a commercial, and straight up white boy, I'm an oyster farmer commercial, and praised it, you were the bear. You were the bear. Because every single black person on Beyonce's internet said the exact same thing. And this was all before Valhalla.
I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army. I'm not afraid to name an enemy.
So the minute that you hear how he talks about violence, I've been in the military, I'm around military people all day long. Some people love it too much. From the minute that we saw the Nazi tattoo, we said, hold up, people. From the minute we heard him say black people don't tip, we said, liberals, hold up. These things aren't just in a vacuum. People who act like this, racists, even closeted ones, even ones who don't think that they are, they're going to have an intersection with things like violence against women, things like control issues, anger issues. And then when he said how much he loved Valhalla's stupid show, racist show, you said harm reduction.
When black people tell you that racism should be disqualifying, maybe you should probably listen, because there's intersections when it comes to racism. If you're racist, then more than likely you're misogynist. More than likely you're homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, all the phobics, bitch. Anti-blackness does not just end with Secondly, you're proving another point to black people, because when the did y'all even learn about harm reduction? When black people told you that we were voting for Kamala Harris out of harm reduction, y'all didn't want to listen. Now y'all understand nuance when it's not a Now let's talk about that double standard real quick. Y'all tried to hold Kamala Harris accountable for a white man's actions, knowing that as vice president, she had no constitutional authority to oversee anything that was going overseas. Versus a white man who y'all infantilize and give every excuse to, who voluntarily decided to enlist. And to quote the man himself in a since deleted Reddit post, he said that he enjoyed winning, which required killing. But yet y'all said y'all couldn't vote for Killer Kamala because of G-side, yet a man who actually played a hand in murdering people. See, you can commit murder when you don't have melanin. The double standards and the hypocrisy of it all. Look, go vote for that man. Go show up, hold your nose if you got to. Go vote for Graham Platner out of harm reduction, but don't sit here and play in black people's face if we don't see what the your ass is doing.
For me, it's really just getting annoying, that blind spot. Your trauma has caused you to lash out without your accountability. That's unfortunate. There is nuance. Last I heard on she has 2 channels, and there was some sort of a accountability walk back.
To be my final thoughts on Graham Platner and his failed candidacy for the Senate in Maine and all of the controversies swirling around him. I feel like I have given enough energy to an absolute disappointment of a white man. And unfortunately, I think I got to expound a little bit further here. So I hope that you'll hang in there with me. Now, I did do 2 videos on my side channel yesterday after the news broke that there were credible SA allegations against Platner. I've made numerous posts both on this YouTube channel and on other social media platforms, rescinding any support that I've had for Platner in the past and urging him to suspend his campaign and step down. But I also wanted to take some time. Y'all know that I frequently do not respond to breaking news stories, and I frequently need time to sift through my thoughts. Well, in this instance, I wanted to go back and read through the New York Times article that came out a month ago or so, and also go back and watch my old videos that I made about Platner, and then look at what people were saying online, reread the Politico article. There has since been a CNN interview with Jenny that has come out. And then I waded through hundreds of comments that y'all left on my various posts and videos about this subject in the last less than 24 hours. And I took a little time this morning to distill my thoughts, and I want to have some final closing remarks about Platner. And also about my own take on him, right? So I'm aware that I have a large social media platform and that I took space and time on that platform to elevate Platner and his campaign. Do I regret that in hindsight? Yes, absolutely, now that there is a credible SA allegation against him. But I don't regret using Platner's campaign to talk about the way that the Republican establishment, the way that AIPAC, the way that the Democratic establishment launches smear campaigns and attempts to scuttle candidates. It is literally happening right now against DSA candidates who are ahead in their primaries or have won their primaries over the last week. And it definitely happened to Platner. As I said in my video on my side channel yesterday, multiple things can be true at once. I think that we are watching other social media creators, we are watching people on the internet create this false binary that either you are always for him or you are always against him, or you either believe the accusations or you believe that it was a setup. I've seen a concerning amount of both, well, I never liked him and now I'm going to play I told you so, which I think is not helpful for a number of reasons. I don't know if I'll have time to get into them before the end of this video, but also I have seen literally hundreds of comments from people who are still supporting Platner. And the number one reason that they are is because they do not trust that this was not a setup, because it follows a lot of the scripting, right, that we have seen happen to other candidates and that is happening to other candidates. The difference here is that Platner's own actions are at play. And I think it's really, I would encourage us all to take a step back and say that there could be a coordinated attack against a candidate, and also the accusations can be very, very real.
And I'm not sure I can say it any better than I did in my car yesterday during lunch, when it all just came out of me. This is it.
I'm going to leave you with this. White women, when you hear a guy say, I was going to vote for Platner because harm reduction, and if your response is, that's because of course you would, because that issue is not important to you, because I would rather choose the bear, I cannot find you safe. Remember that when you say that voting for the other person means voting for the child rapist, for the abuser of women, for the raising of the hand in support of more abuse of women and hiding the files of abusing young girls. So just maybe they did mean harm reduction by that. And I'm not here to praise any white guys. They brought the shit on themselves. But if you're going to be on this platform and people are trusting you, you have to be able to acknowledge the difference, especially when you were the one showing his commercials. Like you were a network TV program. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Because if that's how you're going to judge every white guy, without any realistic nuance, not giving the benefit of the doubt, but if you can't see that part when you were actually thinking the same thing, you have now let your trauma turn you into a cult member. And if that's how you're doing it, please remember that black folks for the past year have been saying, what are you doing? It's obvious that race isn't a cutoff for you. Race isn't a game ender for you. For Dollemore, it was.
Look, I'm going to start with this about Graham Platner. I get attacked anytime I criticize his candidacy after I pulled my support, because yeah, I pulled my support. I reversed position on supporting Graham Platner. When he first announced his candidacy, I came out because I 100% agree with his policy prescriptions as he states them to be. But as soon as the Nazi tattoo thing came out, that's a deal breaker for me. And look, people can change. People can rehabilitate themselves. They can change their ideology. They can shift on their policy positions. I've done that. We should all aspire to do that in our lives, to change our minds when the information changes or when our understanding of that information changes. We should change, adopt the correct positions for sure. But having a Nazi tattoo and recently trafficking in anti-black racism rhetoric about black people are cheap and they don't tip. With a Nazi with a Totenkopf tattoo. Well, he was a Marine and they're dumb. Any Marine who gets tattoos, that's what they do. No, the fuck they don't.
For knitting cult lady, it was from the very beginning. They said nope.
And you all better believe that I'm gonna say I told you so, because I fucking told you so.
Nope. Listen to the black people. You were hyping him up. Remember that if that's the case, you're the bear. You're my bear. Because you were willing to throw me under the bus so you could get a socialist. We all want one. We all want one. But when you say, men, we're going to throw women under the bus to get that status or to get that vote or to get that policy, I say you were going to throw me under the bus to get that policy. And you will again. You've proven you still haven't listened.
Yeah, that's the video. I think I'm done here. I'm not going to be mentioning this again. Unfortunately, whatever happens after this, if we don't win the Senate because of this, on the other hand, for you Republicans out there doing a lap around the golden pool, the time to fight is now, people. With or without Platner. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind, the kind that moves. But here's the thing, none of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're gonna pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say, our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads, it's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.